Welcome to the Health Optimized podcast. The goal of this podcast is to discuss the latest scientific literature and evidence-based health optimization tools so that you can take immediate and practical action in controlling your health today. What's up, guys? Welcome back to the podcast. Today we have a very special guest, somebody that I've been trying to get to do a podcast with for quite some time now. So if you'd like to introduce yourself, Kevin.
What's up, guys? I'm Kevin, aka Coach Supacoopa. Andy and I go way back, so I'm really excited to have this conversation with him today. He has a lot of words of wisdom to share with you guys, and I hope I have a lot of words of wisdom to share with you guys as well. But pretty much who I am is I'm just an average guy that fell in love with fitness, that is following his purpose, that turned into my passion, turned into my purpose. And now I'm the owner of the Superfit Academy. We've been running the Superfit Academy for the last 3 years now, and I help men and women all over the world get in the best shape of their life and figure out how to fit fitness into their lifestyle. Want to tell them a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, so my name's Andy Ridzik. On most socials, you can find me at Andrew Ridzik, though. And I'm basically a trained physiologist. I just graduated from my master's at Georgetown studying physiology, and I just use physiology for the purposes of health and performance. And so a lot of the fitness and training advice that I give is based on genetics and human biology. So if you guys are interested in science-backed information, let me know. We'll post all the links down below. But yeah, excited to be here.
Awesome. Pumped to have you. And we're going to get into a lot of great topics today. Yeah. Why do I know? Because we've already recorded the podcast.
No, I'm excited. We've been actually trying to get this done for a little bit of time, probably almost like a year now, but I didn't have any experience recording anything, and now I've since started. And so it's been in the making for a little while. We both have ideas that we're going to talk about in this episode that we've talked about personally off camera. So it'll be really interesting to give that perspective to you guys and kind of give you our thoughts on various topics, whether that's life stuff, fitness stuff, business stuff, which I'm really interested in now. So yeah, it's a good conversation.
And this man has a lot of words of wisdom for you guys. So sit back, relax, crack open your favorite energy drink. Let's have a great show. All right, brother. We are good to go. What's up, Andy? How are you?
What's up, Kevin? Good to see you.
Good to see you as well.
First things first. Cheers.
Yeah, cheers, brother.
Thank you for the Ghost.
Absolutely.
It's actually my second. So I haven't tried. This is cherry limeade. I have not tried cherry limeade. Only tried. It's not bad either. I've only tried the Sour Patch Kids one.
Really? The blue or the red?
The red one. But full disclosure, I brought 2 Ghosts for us as well. On the way here, I brought a red one and a blue one. And I was just going to let you decide which one you wanted, but you already stocked up. So we're already on the same wavelength. Right. We're already good to go. So yeah, thanks for having me. Thanks for agreeing. This is a great studio 100%. You built over here. Yep. Super cool.
Brick by brick.
Brick by brick. Yeah. So speaking of brick by brick, how did you come from where you started to where you are now with everything around you, clients, managing everything, looking to expand? How do you get from I want to be in the fitness space to where you are now?
It's a really, really great question. We'll bring it back to like passion first, because I think I like to lead life with passion and kind of like what really changed my life. And I first got into fitness originally because I was a skinny kid. I had acne. I was insecure. I was shy. I felt like I wasn't respected. And then I realized like how you take care of your body kind of tells the world how you think you deserve to be treated. So I think that's the first interview. Yeah, I'm getting nervous in my own house.
You're good.
But so I figured that it taking care of my fitness, like no wonder I felt like I wasn't getting the respect I deserved. Felt shy because I wasn't actually taking my life into my own hands. So going to the gym at a very dark point in my life kind of changed that for me. It made me realize that I'm in control of my life. I get to be my own superhero, thus Supacoopa. Yeah, that's how the brand name started. And then pretty much fitness changed my life, and that got me into fitness. And then started to want to learn more and more about like how the human body worked and how amazing it made me feel. That's what I wanted to do for other people. But one of the main stories that I don't share too much, what made me want to help other people, is because heart disease runs in my family. And my uncle, a lot of people says he looks a lot like me, like I looked a lot like him, like at all the family gatherings. And he was a personal trainer, and he unfortunately passed away. He was born with a heart defect, and he passed away. It was a really hard time in my life, but one thing I remember is that at his wake, I was standing up with the family, and at his wake there was thousands and thousands and thousands of people lined up, and they're coming, like young kids, older people, all ages, all demographics, saying, "Your uncle changed my life." And they're like crying. They're like, "He made such an impact. He would give the shirt off his back for me." And that was the moment I realized, I'm like, this is what life's about, is making that impact on other people. So that made me turn fitness into what my career wanted to be, like helping other individuals. Was that moment I said, if my uncle can transform all these people's lives with my like background with the internet and like growing on social media, like I could do the same for other people. So that's what drives me every day, is I want to make sure no one has to feel the way I felt, or family feels when someone gets like heart disease or sick. And I want to end heart disease. That's my main goal.
You want to end heart disease?
Yes.
Awesome. Yeah.
One person at a time.
I think that's a great reason to get into the space, because now I feel like it's kind of tough to where a lot of people kind of get into it for the clout reasons. And I think that, like what you started off with, the word passion, I think a lot of people just don't have that core value or the why that they want to do it. And so they just get in it for a little bit of clout, maybe some money, maybe because it's a cool thing to get into now. And you have this whole wide range of emotions that you like pour into it every day, and I think that's why you've been able to like last long, whereas some people might come in but they might phase out. And so that keeps you pushing every day, and I think that's one of the main things that a lot of people are missing right now in the industry. And I think that it's great. So how did you start to want to grow when after the wake and everything like that, on social media specifically, or were you already starting to grow on social media before then and it kind of like kept you going?
So pretty much I always wanted to get in social media, even when I was 12. Started off editing Minecraft videos. Like
so this wasn't even a fitness thing. You just wanted to be on social media.
I wanted to be on social media. I wanted to inspire people because I'm an only child, and so I spent a lot of my time hanging out with people by watching their videos and how great it made me feel. So editing Minecraft videos, making skits. I started Supacoopa in high school, a YouTube channel, me just making skits to make people laugh and feel good. But like everyone kind of understands, like people don't understand in high school, so I got made fun of for it. And that's where Supacoopa started. I wanted to be my own superhero, editing videos, editing content online, like allowed me to write my own story, even before the gym. But once I got into the gym, I started just like, I mean, like how to get a six-pack at home, like before I even was allowed to go to a gym. So that was always a passion of mine. But then when my uncle passed away, it was when I was a sophomore in college. And that made me want to be a personal trainer. I didn't even think the online space like really existed. I think honestly, don't want to say it, but the C word that happened in 2020, I think like initiated a lot of online businesses. But at the time, I didn't think that was possible. I just wanted to be an in-person trainer. So I was an in-person trainer at like a rowing club in Saugatuck, which is where my uncle was a trainer at, and then a private gym in Ridgefield. And then I was a senior in college. I had a camera because I just liked making videos. The C word shut down the world, shut down the gyms. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that anymore, but shut down the gyms. And it's a funny story. Like, I don't want to talk about the past, but a lot of times, like, the worst moments in life can, like, you can let it make you. And when I was working at this gym, they didn't pay me at all. They kept saying they're going to pay me, and they didn't pay me. And I showed up every single day. And I just said it. But they shut down the gym, and I realized, hey, I have a camera. And me and Mackenzie my girlfriend, were working out in her garage. And we just decided to start filming our workouts, posting it online. Started to attract an audience. People were saying I like this, and I'm like, like maybe like people are asking me questions. Maybe I can just coach them online. I don't remember who I saw where I'm like, oh, they're an online coach. Maybe I could be an online coach. I don't really remember that aspect of it. I just knew I wanted to help people, and I also didn't want to have a boss. Like I wanted to be my own boss.
It makes sense too, especially when your boss isn't paying you when you're showing up and working. So that's a pretty bad taste in your mouth. But I think also too, during that time, it kind of forced everything to go online. So it probably made the decision easier to be like, well, I want to be a trainer, I want to help people, and the only thing open right now is just the online space, so let me just jump into that. Did you find that to be the case?
Definitely. I think I liked posting on social media. I also wanted to be like a sponsored athlete for certain companies, like because that's what I looked up to in the industry. But then I'm actually sponsored by another company.
Are
We just
you?
signed the yeah, we just got sponsored.
Oh, okay.
I'll say it, Legion. This is the first announcement of it. You're the first one to know.
Yeah.
It's a great company, science backed.
Yeah.
There's a lot of research on it. I don't know if you heard of them, but yeah, I'm a sponsored athlete officially for Legion.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
But they don't make energy drinks, so I think we're cool to drink these.
Okay,
I just don't want to say the name too
Cool.
much. But
Well, maybe that's something you can kickstart for them. Maybe be like, hey, let's get into the energy space.
100%.
Maybe make a formula.
100%.
Bada boom, bada bing.
Dude, great questions. You're a great interviewer.
You think so?
Dude,
I'm
yeah.
just I'm just
Dude,
talking.
you're a
I
freaking
don't
great
really know.
interviewer.
I don't really know where to go. Okay, so picking up where we left off. So mid C word and everything's starting to go online. You start to develop an audience. How do you develop an audience? There's a lot of people out there that are saying, I want to jump into that space. Where do I go? Do I just post random videos? Maybe they do, and they're not seeing any traction. What was your strategy like to grow, if you had a strategy at all, or if you were just doing it for fun and just had some success?
Great question. So it originally started off for fun, but I will say if you do want to grow, it needs to be you need to plan it out. Everything needs to be super planned. So it started off I was working 2 jobs. I was working at the gym, and I was also working at Big Y grocery store. And on my breaks, I would just post a photo of me on Instagram with a caption saying 3 steps to lose fat, drink water, just basic stuff like that. Just to kind of show to be an authority online. But at the end of the day, to grow an audience, you just need to provide value to them. I used to think it was about the quality of the camera, quality of the audio, which it helps in a way. But at the end of the day, people aren't going to watch my content to say, that's really great quality camera there, unless they're trying to make their own content.
Right.
But if you want to attract an audience that's going to want to sign up for coaching or want to receive help from you or want to learn how to lose fat, then the value you provide, the value is in the eye of the beholder. So the value to them isn't going to be quality of the camera. It's going to be what steps can I follow to lose my next 5 pounds. So I took kind of the quality of the camera, which isn't everything, but I started saying, what can I provide to the person watching on the other screen? And it comes to the fact you need to make sure your audience knows you, likes you, and trusts you. And trust is built off of any relationship in life, right? Off of consistency and not doing wrong. Right. So, for example, we have trust with each other, but if there was times where we broke the trust, you were supposed to come here today, and I was like, Andy, I'm canceling last minute. What? Our trust gets broken there. So consistency and constantly keeping your viewer in your best interest and trying to help them out every single day. I think over time we'll build that trust with them. Yeah,
definitely. Did you see that growth happen immediately? Was it really slow? Because I do remember during that time too, even me personally, I was never into YouTube, social media, even fitness too much. If I was, it was just for me personally, I wasn't looking to other people. And then during that time, that's kind of all I was about. There was nothing else to do, and it was just it caught my attention. And so I feel there was a really rapid growth there. Is that what you saw, or was it still more slow, the typical growth?
Yeah, so probably about 2 years of posting, not really with a structured plan per se. And grew a couple thousand followers. A lot of it was just grinding, saying if I get 500 followers, I'm going to post me deadlifting in McDonald's as a YouTube video, which we actually did.
Did you actually do that?
It's off right now because I don't want to ruin, I don't know if I was going to go in gym. I'm not allowed in the McDonald's in Danbury anymore.
Wait, for real?
Yeah.
You're not allowed in there?
No.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
All for a YouTube video.
Yeah, but it was worth that. But I don't eat at McDonald's anyway, so because we don't need that. If it was Chipotle, on the other hand, then we'd get in trouble.
We're not gonna do that.
But so just grinding like that at first, saying hey, can you follow me? That's literally how I started. I was just asking people to follow me. But then once I started getting consistent, I started providing value. I did a series saying eat this food every day to lose fat faster. Obviously, you're not going to eat blueberries and just shred 15 pounds. But the point of it was saying there's certain foods that are better for satiation, to keep you in a calorie deficit. So that's why I was making them. But it was very clickbaity.
Yeah.
And I think I got up to 50,000 followers in like a month.
Okay.
And it was actually 4th of July last year.
Okay. So almost
Yeah.
a year ago now.
Almost a year ago. And then a week later, 75K. A week later, 111K.
Yeah.
It just exponentially, it's like a snowball effect. So it's like the analogy of planting a seed and you're going to water it for weeks, not see any growth. But all that stuff's happening underneath. And then eventually once it sprouts out, you wake up the next day and it's all the way through the, it's a full
you did
flower.
tell me the story about the bamboo tree too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You want to share that story?
I think you should share that story.
Well, the bamboo tree is like, I'm not an expert, but the bamboo tree is like, these farmers will plant a bamboo tree and you have to take care of that bamboo tree for, I think it's 5 weeks or maybe it's 5 months. I don't remember the exact, but it's a long time and nothing happens. But you have to have the trust that like, I need to keep following this process of taking care of the soil, watering it, do whatever you have to do to take care of a bamboo plant. And when most people would be like, okay, did I even plant something here? Nothing's growing. They trust the process. And next thing you know, it not only took 5 months for it to just sprout a little bit, but it will shoot up like 15 feet overnight. And everyone's like, it's just like the industry. They're like, oh, you became a success overnight, or you built your business overnight, or where did you come from?
Right.
And it's like, well, everything was happening behind the scenes first. I was learning how to edit videos for 10 years, making Minecraft videos before I knew how to edit a fitness video.
Right.
So things like that. And skills are something that people can't take away from you.
True. Elaborate on that.
Skills are something that people can't take away from you. Like what I mean by that is like, when it comes to business or even fitness, it's not just one thing that's going to make you successful. It's a puzzle, and every piece not only you not only have to have all the right pieces, but you need to put them in the right order. They all need to connect with each other to complete the puzzle. So like for a business, there's so many things. There's marketing, there's content, there's learning how to edit videos or knowing how to hire the right people to do that for you. But I think you kind of have to be a jack of all trades at the beginning to understand the process. And then they all come together to form the full cake. You need all the ingredients.
That's very true. That's something I'm starting to learn a little bit now too, because I'm just starting, and I feel like it's easier when a lot of people are just starting to say like, oh yeah, well you must have had 1 overnight success, or 2. It's just easier to look back and say, yeah, I had everything that was like working for me in the background. It's harder, I think, mentally when you still haven't found that success and you're still watering it, and it's more of just the unknown of like, is this ever going to sprout? Am I watering it correctly? Is it in the right environment? And I think that what I've found, at least over the past few months that I've been starting to do this, is that you really just don't know. There really is no answer, and then you kind of just have to keep pivoting until it does work out, and you can look back and say, well, I had to go through all that. And so there's a book that I read a little while back. It's Ready, Fire, Aim.
Love this.
Yeah, and so it's not about aiming and trying to figure out the exact pinpoint before you shoot all the time. Now, it's nice to have a plan. You have to be ready still, but you shouldn't be necessarily aiming to the exact millicentimeter just to hit a target. You want to just fire and then adjust, and that's kind of the way it is in life. There's never been a plan that's worked out exactly 100% the way you've planned it,
100%.
And so you shouldn't expect it. Now, you still have to go in with a plan. You can't just not go in with a plan. I think you had mentioned that before, where it's anything you're doing in the future requires a good plan and structure, but there's always going to be some sort of adjustment, so you might as well just like jump in. And I think for someone like me, I always get lost in like the paralysis by analysis, and I always try to overanalyze, and I just become stagnant. So it's nice to almost force myself to actually make moves, actually aim, or actually fire, and then readjust afterward and see where I'm at. So I think that's one of like the harder parts I'm still trying to navigate now, and becoming the jack of all trades, which what you mentioned. So it's a little bit tough, but hopefully it works out.
It's a really great analogy there. I remember you told me that one day in the gym, and it like changed my life, honestly.
Really?
Yeah, like everything I do now, I'm like, you don't even have to figure it out. Figure out as we go. Yeah. It's almost like you're driving a car, and like you have a destination. You can't see the destination from when I leave the driveway. I can only see 100 yards in front of me.
Right.
So I just got to take it yard by yard and then readjust as we get to the next spot.
Exactly. And I don't know if you've ever seen that the SpongeBob episode where he has to write the paper. And he has to write like a super long paper, I guess, for an essay that's due like the next day. And he spends like the first hour, and he creates the most perfect T
Yes.
there ever was. It's
Yeah.
just one letter, but it's like the most perfect letter. But then he realizes it's just like he spent all that time creating the perfect letter, but nothing else got done. So you're really not progressing in the way that you should. And I guess there's just got to be a balance. You want to make what you're doing nice. You want your content to be good value. You want it to be actually genuine. You want it to help people. You want it to be good. But you still have to have that volume to where you're producing it to where you can provide the most value to the most people as well. So it's just about, I guess, finding that balance. Have you found that balance yet? Are you working on finding that balance? Or like how is like your volume to
Oh yeah. So I used to be a perfectionist, and it used to take me like 7 hours to edit one Instagram video every day. People don't see it. When I post an Instagram video, sometimes it would take me 7 hours with filming it, background, lighting. Just to set up this podcast studio today probably took me like an hour because it's not like set in place. But
which, to be fair, it looks awesome. This
Thank
is
you, brother.
Unlike any studio I've been in personally.
Appreciate
so you did
it.
a great job with
Appreciate
that.
it.
Yeah,
means a lot. I want to make sure it's good because you're a high quality individual, so I want to make sure it's a high quality video.
I appreciate it.
But I think I found the balance because now I'm making more videos that not only I hope help people, but they're also very easy for me to speak. And if I genuinely want to help somebody, and I genuinely want to make a difference in the world and end heart disease 1% at a time, like I said I do, I'm not going to be able to do that posting one video a day anymore. I'm going to need to find a way to get my message across and post 2 times a day now. That's the next step. I don't need to post 8 times a day like Gary Vee, but twice a day now. Eventually I'll get to 8 times a day, but right now twice a day. So now that's why I invested in the studio. I ripped up the carpet. We did all the lighting stuff in here. I got rid of, there's used to be a couch back here, but I wanted more space. So now I can just kind of keep the camera there and just press record. And this way I'm able to put more output out. So I think it's a balance of finding like, it doesn't need to be perfect, but also how can I make this as easy as possible? How can I make pressing record as easy as possible? This way I can help more people.
Yeah, you eliminate that time to action where it's just like you make the environment as easy as possible for you to just do what you need to get done and continue and become like an efficient working machine. And so I think that's something that people, it needs to take time to learn how to do that because everybody's environment's different. Some people, like, it's like the classic morning routine thing. Everybody has their own different morning routine, but there's no like, oh, you need to wake up at 4 a.m. and do this or do the cold plunge and the sauna and this and that. But just like do the thing that works for you and just do it really well and really consistently. And then you just keep getting better and better and you just become a more efficient machine. And
100%.
so that's more of a business lesson and like a life lesson as opposed to a fitness lesson. But where have you seen that in the fitness space? Making it as easy as possible, because I think that's a huge issue for many people. Most people kind of know what they should be doing, but what they really need is accountability from a coach, and then to make their environment as easy as possible to keep doing it consistently, because that is the name of the game. So what are some of the things that you provide for your clients or just for yourself that you see to make the barrier to entry a little bit easier?
Right. So I always say you should make fitness fit within your lifestyle. So you got to take a look at your current lifestyle, what you sleep, what you eat, what you do. You have children, no children, what's your job like, how many days you're working, night shifts, morning shifts. And then once you assess that, you're like, how can we optimize things? One thing at a time. Because I think, like, if you focus on one habit, I think the chance of success is 90%. And then once you try to focus on creating 2 habits in your life, it drops down to like 60. And then focusing on 3 habits, now you're down to like 14% success rate. Don't quote me on those actual statistics, but focusing on one area at a time to optimize. So what is important is you need to take a look at your lifestyle and understand if you enjoy carbs and maybe like once a week you like to go out with your significant other and you have bread at the table, maybe you shouldn't follow keto. Now, does your body respond best to keto? Maybe, I don't know. You would know more about that stuff than me. But I think you want to be in great shape, but you also want to enjoy your life as well, which is important because I've gone through periods of time where I only ate chicken and spinach and my last meal of the day was at 10:30, a can of tuna with hot sauce in it. I got shredded, but I was dreaming of food while I was asleep. So I think finding a balance is good, understanding what you like, but I think going through the structure in the beginning of like sacrificing will teach you what you like and you don't like.
Yeah, definitely.
I think people shouldn't just be like, I'm going to intuitively and do what I want to do, because the reason why people unfortunately got overweight is because they were doing what they wanted to do for years.
Right.
So you need the structure for sure. But from my own experience, I remember when I was I had a busy schedule. I was working 2 jobs before I was an online fitness coach. Because a lot of people say, "Oh, you're a fitness coach. That's why you're in shape, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like you're running your own health business. That's why you're in shape." It's like, well, we also were try to get in shape before we started our business. So what happens was, when I was working 2 jobs, going to school full time, I realized I wasn't going to go home after an 11 p.m. shift to get my gym clothes on and my gym shoes, then go to the gym. So I realized, okay, bring my gym clothes to work with me. This way, when I get out of work, I get changed in my car. It's 11 p.m. It's pitch black. No one's going to look at me getting changed in my car in the pitch black. Get changed, drive to the edge down the road and work out. Don't give myself a chance to drive home. So you need to be self-aware and say, like, okay, look in the mirror. Where am I actually slacking? And how do I avoid the slacking?
Yeah. And where does that mindset come from? Because not a lot of people, I think, would say to themselves, well, I just worked 2 jobs, it's 11 p.m., it's pitch black, I want to go to the gym right now. Not a lot of people say that. So where does that discipline come into play?
I think pain. I think there's 2 reasons why people make any change in their life: is the avoidance of pain or the gaining of pleasure. That's what I believe. And at the time, I was going through pain, went through a heartbreak, was cheated on in a past relationship. I had no self-worth for myself. And I said, what else am I going to do with all this energy? So I was tired, but I was also tired of being tired. I was tired of being insecure. So you gotta look at both scenarios in life, and you need to look at it with an open mind, saying, like, okay, I am tired. I do want to go to bed, but I also don't want to wake up tomorrow and not like what I see in the mirror. I'm also tired of not wanting to take my shirt off around the pool, or being overlooked by people, or not taken seriously. So there was a lot of pain I went through in life. But I will say, for people, that the worst place you could be in is comfortable, right? If you're sitting in a comfy chair, you don't want to get up off that chair. If there's a spike on that chair, you're not going to sit there too long. It's going to be uncomfortable. So you got to create discomfort in your life, but you also got to flip the sword and say, the gaining of pleasure. How good could my life look? How much healthier could I be? How much more energy could I have? And that's the hardest part, because people that have never experienced it before don't know what it's like to optimize their nutrition and feel healthy. So that's where you kind of have to play the what if game a little bit, or have someone like you or me or another professional tell them, like, this is what you're supposed to feel like. You're not supposed to feel tired when you wake up in the morning. You just slept for 8 hours for a reason. There's certain things we need to focus on here. So that's how I judge my life, is the avoidance of pain and gaining of pleasure. That's why people make changes in life.
Yeah, and I think in the pain pleasure aspect, I think both of them accompany each other for everything. There is the short term and then the long term. So sitting in that comfy chair, the short term pleasure is definitely there. It's comfortable, life is good, you're comfy, you don't want to get up. But then afterward, if you keep there for too long, you're just not going to go anywhere. You're not going to progress. You're going to start to feel worse in that comfy chair. So the pain accompanies it. Whereas on the flip side, if you were to get up, and let's say, just to use fitness as an example, going to the gym at 11 p.m., it's pretty painful. You want to go to sleep. You're not comfortable. You're pretty uncomfortable going to the gym that late after working out. You're tired, whatever. But later comes the pleasure of, one, the self-satisfaction, like you actually did it, you're consistent. I think that's like the self-gratitude. That's one of the biggest pleasures that at least I get in my life, whenever I actually achieve a goal that I wanted to. And then 2, just being actually like the physical pleasure, just like I feel good about myself. I feel good moving around. So I think that's a great analogy, that you have the pain and the pleasure, and you just kind of have to choose which is leading to, because they're both there. It's what is it, the pain of discipline and the pain of regret? That's what people have to choose between the 2.
Yes, it's super true. I think you're absolutely right. Like the pain of discipline or the pain of regret, you got to choose which pain you want to deal with. There's pain, no matter what, you're gonna have pain in life. And I say, you might as well control your pain. Control what pain you go through in life, because then you're in control. If you don't take control of what pain you want to experience, like waking up earlier than you want to, ice baths, for example. You don't have to do that, but that's a form of pain. Going to the gym isn't comfortable. You're putting your body under stress, literally. But if I get to control the pain in my life, then I feel like I'm in control. And then when I'm in the grocery store later, I knew I was in control of the gym. Now I'm going to be in control of what food I put in my body. Right. Now I'm going to be in control of how I treat my peers, or how I treat my girlfriend, or how I treat people I care about. So I'm in control. Right. I don't want to be a bag in the wind anymore. Right. Ending up wherever life takes me.
Yeah, and how you do one thing is how you do everything. So if you can at least set for yourself an example of how I should feel in control with one thing, it'll bleed into the other aspects of your life. And then I think that'll just make you an overall well-rounded person. And so that's another topic I wanted to touch on too, where I know a lot of people, especially in like the business space, that's something I'm starting to get interested into, how to grow business, yada yada. But a lot of it, people do say like the number one thing you should do is be fit, get in shape. And so when you hear that off the rip, it's kind of like, this makes no sense. How does being fit correlate with making money if I'm not a fitness influencer? If I'm trying to make a candy company, how does being fit into that? And so what do you think the answer is?
Oh, I love this question. Great question. So first of all, fitness changed everything for me. It allowed me to believe in myself a little bit more. So if you're struggling with belief, you're not going to put in the work necessary in anything in life. Like, you got to believe in yourself first in order for anyone to believe in you. If you don't believe yourself, a significant other isn't going to believe in you. A coworker isn't going to believe in you. Someone hiring you isn't going to believe in you. A client isn't going to believe in you. So you have to have belief in yourself first, and you earn that every day. But I would say, what's going to chop down a tree better? A dull axe or a sharp axe?
Sharp axe. Right.
So when you take care of your body, you're going to have more energy. You're going to have more confidence. You're going to have better self-esteem. It actually improves cognitive function. Okay. And this is what I tell college students too. I say, listen, I would much rather work out for an hour and study for 2 hours than study for 3 hours and not work out for an hour. Why? Because if I work out for an hour, my blood's going to be pumping. I'm going to have more confidence. I'm going to think clearer. And then the 2 hours I'm studying, although it's 1 hour less, that study time's going to be more efficient because I'm a sharper axe now. Right. I only need to take 5 swings at the tree instead of 1,000. So it's going to be the same thing with business. It's going to be the same thing with taking care of your family. If you can move quicker, if you have more confidence. And these are all science-backed things that exercise does for you.
I was going to mention, too, there's actually been a bunch of recent studies coming out now that there's actually proteins that are released when you work out, like via your muscles, that are only released via contraction. So actually working out and doing stuff, not just like thinking about working out and this and that. But these proteins do act on your neuronal system, so your brain, and they make you feel good. 1, but 2, they make it work more efficiently. So you actually are at a higher thought power. So if you do work out and then go study afterward, it actually might be at a physical, biological level more efficient.
It's incredible, right?
Yeah.
That's incredible.
But people know these things too. Like, people know they feel better after working out.
Oh, yeah.
People know it's like, oh, I just feel sharper. I feel good when I'm eating good. I feel good when I work out. It just helps to know that like there is like actual biological scientific basis around it, not just the placebo effect. But anyways, that was just my little scientific side.
Oh, 100%. I'm glad you shared that. People need to hear that. Listen to that again. Rewind that 15 seconds and actually listen to that. And we're not just talking for fun here, because these are things that we actually did in our own life that has helped us through our own experience as well. And science backs it up. But that's my answer to that, is that fitness is the most important thing you can ever do in your life. The more you go on social media now, you're going to hear everyone saying it. Millionaires are saying it. Anyone that is successful in life is going to say it. Eventually, even Mr. Beast.
Yeah, and
see that guy?
Yeah, I did see.
He's got like a 6-pack now.
Yeah.
Because he can't be doing that output forever.
Right.
And longevity is super important. It's not just about like one thing. It's about continuously doing.
And also too, I mean, what good is to have a bunch of money if you don't even have your health? It's 100%. Just at the end of the day, if you're on your deathbed, you're thinking to yourself, would you rather have another $1 million, or would you rather have your health back? And I think anyone in their right mind would probably say they want their health back. And so why waste the time now? Get in your good health now. Get in your optimal state. You can always get more money, but you can't get back your health if you've already lost it to a degree where that's it. So let's just try to prevent all the mishaps from happening now. And I think that'll put you on a trajectory to even get more money if that's what you're looking for,
Mm-hmm.
or just become successful in any realm. Successful doesn't mean just monetarily.
Right.
It can be within your relationships. If you want to fix your marriage, I think fitness teaches you a lot of these principles of discipline. Doing the things you know you should be doing even when you don't feel like doing it. If sometimes you and your wife or your loved one get into a fight, you don't feel like loving them in that moment, but you do it anyway because that's just what you have to do. It's the right thing to do. It's what you need to do, and it's being consistent. And love is with consistency as well. You can't have love one day and then hatred the next day.
Yep.
And so that comes with consistency and discipline, which I think fitness is a good example. It's not the end-all be-all, but it's a very good example, and it's applicable to almost any realm of human endeavor that I can possibly think of.
100%.
So that's what at least I've noticed in my life.
Yeah, because I look at you, and like I can tell you take care of yourself. You're in shape, and because of that, I know it takes a certain amount of discipline. It takes a certain amount of consistency. It takes a certain amount of trusting the process, trusting in yourself. And I know that you can't give anything that you don't already have. If you want a glass of water, I can't give you a glass of water if I don't already have water in my glass to give you.
Yeah.
So therefore, if I look at you and I see that you have discipline, you have consistency, that you're going to be consistent with me, that you're going to be committed to me, all right? Like in a relationship, whether it's with a significant other or a business relationship or anything, consistency is part of it. Trusting in yourself, you give trust back. Respecting yourself, you give respect back. So that's something that in all areas of life, if you take care of your health, people can see that. And fortunately, people do judge.
Yes.
People say, unfortunately, people judge. But I think, fortunately, people do judge. That's what I think.
Elaborate, unfortunately.
I think...
Because you may have rubbed some people off the wrong way with that word. But let's hear your reasoning why.
I think what happens is judging is something we use as humans for survival. If I'm turning off my road and there's a car coming, I need to judge how close that car is in order to make the turn safely so that my family in the car doesn't get hit by a car. So judging is just used as a survival mechanism. So in a business relationship, I need to judge the person saying, can I trust them or not? And if I judge incorrectly, then they can screw me over. All right. Same thing in a personal relationship, like with a significant other. You have to judge correctly. So people judge. And I say if you take care of yourself, like obviously you need to be an honest person. You can't snake people or like pretend to be someone you're not. But that's the thing with fitness. You can't pretend to be fit. Like you can get injections or take roids and stuff, but really at the end of the day, like you need consistency, you need discipline, whether you take roids or not or whatever you do. But like in order to be in good shape, you need to have consistency, you need to have discipline, and it's good that people judge that because then if someone looks at me, they're like, okay, let's do it.
Yeah, definitely.
I can tell this guy's serious. That's how I view it. Well, that's why I got into fitness as well. You know, for that reason. Yeah.
So speaking of fitness and getting into it, let's shift more into where do you go from here? We've already gotten to how you've gotten here. What's next?
So fitness-wise, it's a great question. So it's honestly now it's like clockwork, getting cut for summer, building muscle. Obviously, there's more areas I can optimize. Knowing I'm not perfect, I'm not a genius. Even coaches need coaches because we're human beings.
Yeah, and just to interject real quick, I don't want to interrupt, but I think that's a lot of people getting into fitness need to know that you don't need to be perfect whatsoever, like in the slightest. I can think back to when I first started, and looking back now, I was like, what was I thinking? It was just all wrong. And I still saw results.
100%,
it got me into it. It got me excited. Just do something. Get started. You don't need to be absolutely perfect. I'm not perfect right now. In the slightest, and I still see results, and it's fine. So
glad you said that.
Yeah, I think there's that like 80-20 rule. Just do like 20% of the effort, you see 80% of the benefit. After that, if you love it and you want to dial in and get like the extra 20% of results, then maybe you can look into finding a coach, into finding a health expert, whatever it is. But yeah, just start. I think that's one of the keys.
Starting's the most. And like you said, paralysis by analysis, like in the beginning of the podcast, like trying to be too perfect holds a lot of people back. Oh, like I don't have the right clothes to go to the gym. Just wear sweatpants and a sweatshirt. There's people in there in PJs. But I understand, like my form was terrible when I first started. Luckily for me, I went to the gym at like midnight, 1 a.m. So
Nobody's
there's no one
around.
in there. I was able
Yeah.
to run across the gym
Yeah.
and do supersets like
Yeah.
that. But my form was terrible.
Mhm.
I'm sure I have clips online of my form being bad.
Mhm.
Just doing something. I mean, replacing chips and sweets and just
Yeah.
eating whatever the hell you want with just saying let's just have a little structure and eat protein with every meal.
Right.
You're gonna feel way more satiated.
Right.
It's gonna allow you to lose more fat, change your body composition. Just doing that.
Yeah, definitely.
Drinking a gallon of water a day.
That's it.
That helped me a lot, like clearing up my skin. I used to have terrible
Yeah.
acne growing up. So
It's amazing how much of like a little input to have a maximum output you can get. Just
100%.
like the things you know you should be doing, drinking your water,
Yeah.
eating vegetables and fruits, things that come from nature. And it's like, wow, like things that you wouldn't even think it would help,
Mm-hmm.
it just helps. Whether that's like, I don't even know, like you said, acne, whether that's like hair structure, if it's
Yeah.
getting thinner, like these things, it's amazing how much it impacts your body. You
Yeah.
are what you eat, you are what you consume physically within like food and beverages, but also mentally too. A lot of
100%.
I think that's the next topic we can get into.
Why don't
right
you say
after
that again? Yeah, why don't you say that again? Say that one more time.
You are what you consume, both
Yeah.
what you eat and drink, but also mentally. So what you see with your eyes, the social media, you become that. But
Mhm.
I'll let you answer that question first. What's next for you,
It's
and
a
then we'll
big
jump
one.
right back into that.
That's a big, big question. But yeah, so what's next for me is I'm less about physique. I'm less physique driven. I'm less getting bigger biceps and
Mhm.
deeper six pack.
Mhm.
I'm more about health now.
Okay.
Last year, I was sick for probably about half the year, going to multiple doctors. I had a bunch of lumps in my neck. I was really sick with the
Really.
with the C-vid.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was just very sick for like tired, lethargic for half a year last year.
Mm.
Going to all the doctors, blood work, they couldn't figure out what was going on. And because I was training for physique, I was training to be shredded, right? But I wasn't optimizing my health, as in eating vegetables,
Mhm.
as in eating like more grass-fed, natural foods,
Mhm.
getting better sleep,
Mhm.
not stressing myself out so much with business. Running a
Right.
business can be stressful. Taking some time to actually rest
Mhm.
instead of just working out 7 days a week and putting a bunch of cortisol and drinking 3 energy drinks a day.
Although they feel good in the moment.
They feel
yeah.
great. But I started focusing more on health rather than physique.
Mhm.
I started focusing on how I feel.
Mhm.
It's not on my vision board up there, but pretty much what I have on my mental vision board was I just want to be healthy. Because for 6 months last year, I didn't feel very healthy, although I looked healthy.
Yeah.
And all I cared about was I was like, I'll give up my six pack just to have energy again, just to feel like
Right.
pumped up again. So
Right.
my mission moving forward is just to feel as healthy as possible, eat food that makes me feel energized, and allow me to be a better individual for my family, for my clients, for friends, for colleagues, and for the world.
Yeah. And I think that's what everybody kind of wants in general too. I mean, don't get me wrong. I feel like a lot of people want the six-pack abs. They want to look shredded, this and that. But then you get to a certain point, and I can completely vouch for that point too, because I'm the same way now, where I'm like, I really don't care as much about the deep cuts in the abs and the striations in here. I just want to like feel good, be able to move good, not wake up absolutely sore and tired. And I think the points in my life where I looked the best, I probably felt the worst in terms of like my recovery. It was just, I was beat up, my joints hurt, like everything. I was just tired all the time. I remember getting to a point where if I dipped below like 10% roughly body fat, my sleep, I would just not sleep at all.
I remember you telling me that. Yeah, tell a little bit about that.
Yeah, so it's just something that I think a lot of people get to that point too if they try to get too deep into a cut. And there's this idea, which you probably know of like your body's natural set point. There's probably a range where your body wants to be body fat wise, and that is largely controlled by genetics, which is something I'm looking more into. But I was starting to dip below that genetic set point for myself, which I found to be roughly around 10-11%. And so once I dipped below that, I just would not sleep at all. And so I would go a full week, maybe sleeping an hour a night, maybe.
No way, dude, that's miserable.
And I would just keep going because I'm like, I just want to get sub 10%. I want to get sub 10%. It was the goal I set, and I was disciplined and consistent, which is all good things, but to a point where it was unhealthy for me. And so there's good and bad things. There's pros and cons to that situation. The pros of that situation was I looked my best and I achieved the goal that I set out to achieve. The cons of that was I was just not as healthy as I could be. And so a lot of people, when they see people like The Rock or like they're superheroes that they want to look like. Those physiques aren't necessarily healthy.
Mhm.
They just look good. And
Yes.
so I think you found that to be the case as
Mhm.
well. And so, it's not to say that you shouldn't get to that point. I think people should strive to push the limit to see how far they can push themselves, but then
Mhm.
recognize that's like, okay, maybe this is not healthy for me, and maybe my hunger is becoming hangry, and I'm taking that out on the people around me.
Oh yeah.
And
I've
so
been there.
that happened too,
Yep.
So
Oh my
it's
gosh.
it's you have to find a good balance. So definitely do something, start,
Mhm.
get to a good goal,
Mhm.
and then what you're going to find out is that goal is never good enough, and you're going to want to have another goal, and then you're
Mhm.
going to get to that goal, and then you're just going to want to keep pushing the boundaries. So
Mhm.
find your boundary that allows you to be the healthiest you that you can
Mhm.
be, and then dial it back from there, and stay in that healthy set point
Yes.
with goal changes as well. So there's some times where I get into running,
Yeah.
boxing, things like that.
That's
So
right.
I might lower my body fat percentage that way, just for certain goals that I have. I ran a half marathon a few months ago.
Let's go,
And
dude.
so,
Big.
yeah, so that was a cool goal I had, and I ended up dropping a little bit more body fat than I would normally like. But hey, that was part of the goals. But it's not a forever thing. I'm not like going crazy pushing myself. I just want to be healthy. I want to complete my goals that I set out to achieve, and then just living the life I kind of want to with good balance. And I think that kind of takes trial and error for you to know who you are. But yeah, so I totally understand that I look great, but I don't feel great feeling.
Right.
It's a tough feeling.
Right. Yeah, and that's like, I'm glad you shared that story because it's a great example of like, there's many pillars of life.
Mm-hmm.
Fitness is huge in my opinion, top importance.
Right.
But if you put fitness before and it impacts your social life, or it impacts your career, or it impacts your spiritual life,
Right.
or certain areas like that,
Mm-hmm.
you need them all to balance.
Right.
Right.
And that's what health is. Yeah, health
Yeah.
is not just your physical health. There's mental health, there's social health, spiritual health. You need to find a good. You want to be healthy overall, not just physically fit. Although that's a very big part of it. So definitely be physically fit.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I think they all kind of play hand with one another.
Mm-hmm.
If one pillar crumbles, then the whole bridge collapses.
That's right.
So you got to keep all the pillars up.
Yeah.
But I'm glad you shared that.
Do you see? So you did mention that right now, fitness is a big pillar for you. Do you see that shifting, at least toward a different pillar in the near future, or do you think that fitness is going to be your biggest pillar for probably the rest of your life?
I think fitness will be a huge pillar in my life.
Mm-hmm.
I think probably one of the tops. Now, obviously, there's a lot more things in life that I haven't experienced yet, like having a child, things like that.
Yeah.
However, I think keeping my roots at fitness hasn't led me wrong yet. It's allowed me to excel in my relationships. It's allowed me to excel in university, and in my studies, and in my business. And I think if I remove that, so I would never remove fitness.
Right.
But now, does my life revolve around fitness? The answer is no. Again, I fit fitness into my life. So now I have a business, instead of just working 2 jobs and going to school, now I have a business full time.
Right.
My attention shifted a lot towards business, but now I view fitness as, how can I use this as a tool to help me excel in business, rather than just, I want to get a shredded 6-pack in fitness, that's all I care about.
Right.
So it shifted differently, but it's still it will always be very important, even when I have children.
Yeah. It should be, I think, too. And like we had mentioned before, I think it bleeds into all the other areas of your life. So I think that could be a pillar. But I've noticed that shift as well. There was a time that, I was all about fitness. That's all I cared about. That's all I consumed. I watched fitness influencers. I worked out with you all the time during that space. That's kind of like all I cared about. And now it kind of shifts based on like seasons of your life. So if you're someone listening that's in a season of your life now where it doesn't have to be the main thing, or you have kids, you have a family, you have maybe financial stress, whatever it is, fitness doesn't need to be the main pillar in your life to see results. It just needs to be a pillar.
It needs to be like, you could probably attest to this, and I know we talked about this. Like, when I first started lifting, I worked out 3 hours a day, sometimes twice a day. I'd do a morning and night session.
Yeah,
then it was like an hour and a half. Now my workout's 45 minutes.
Yeah. Yep.
Much quicker. I have more experience now, so I think my workouts are even better at 45 minutes than they were at 3 hours. But that's just a prime example right there that, like, less time invested. We get 24 hours in a day,
Right.
and I want those 2 hours towards something I'm trying to grow.
Else, definitely. Yeah, I remember those days of getting in there 7 days a week, 3 hours a day, just killing myself, having fun. And trust me, those days were awesome. I wouldn't trade them in for anything. They were great. But yeah, I'm kind of at a point now where I'm like, hour workout more than suffice enough to get what I need to get done, and then get moving on with the rest of the things that I need to complete for the day. And so, yeah, I actually had a client speak to me too. I won't mention his name here just for a little anonymity, but he was asking me like how often he would need to work out, at least going forward, because he was just starting to get into it. And so I put him on a very basic plan. It's just like 4 or 5 days a week, hour workout. And he was kind of confused. He was like, don't I need to be in there for like 6 days, 2 hours? Like, when are we going to get up to there? And I'm like, honestly, we don't. And based on the things that you've told me, again, because it is personal training, I'm doing it like based on his life or his personal, values, beliefs, times, everything. And so I'm like, based on all the things that's going on in your life, I don't think you have the time to be in there for 6 days a week, 3 hours a day like a professional bodybuilder would. And you're going to get very, very, very good results just being in there 3-4 hours a week. And that's even backed by science. And I have to mention these things too, because I am very science driven. That's kind of, that's what I went to school for. That's what I like. But yeah, I mean, if you work out for just 3.5 hours a week, 4 hours a week, you're going to see all the results you could possibly see. Your risk for cardiovascular disease goes way down. You're not going to have that. Diabetes, way down. All-cause mortality, just all causes just way, way down. So just doing a little bit, and that comes out to, I said, even 3 hours a week. That comes down to 30 minutes a day for 6 days of the week. I think everybody can fit that into their schedules.
Yeah, I think I love that. That's great. I love how you're statistic driven, that you do your research. One statistic I heard too is like, for all the people that want to look young out there, feel young, is that working out, I think 20 minutes a day makes you 9 years younger.
Yeah.
Internally and look wise. So
yeah,
I think.
Would you like to hear maybe a scientific theory as to why that's possible?
Yeah, let's hear it.
Okay, so I will have to do a little bit more research on this, but based on what I know, a lot of aging and like the perception of aging comes down to your telomeres, which is the end parts of your DNA. So if you know about your DNA, it's the little helix structure, if you remember, and it has ends on it, and those ends are called your telomeres. And what happens is these ends, they have like little caps, they shrink over the course of time because there's so much replication of the DNA, and that's how like you change new cells. And obviously when you get older, there's just more replication because time. And so every time you divide and replicate the DNA to create new cells, you're just taking away a little bit of that cap, because there's just a little bit of damage, a little bit of damage, a little bit of damage. And so over the course of time, your DNA telomeres shrink, you get older physically, and your perception, like your perceived age, how you look, is also older. Now, when you exercise, when you take care of your body, when you're eating right, you prevent that DNA damage from happening at those telomeres. And so you protect the cap of the DNA, you protect the integrity of the DNA. So not only are you actually like being perceived younger, you're physically going to be younger, because your telomeres are actually intact, your DNA is intact. And so a lot of what I look at too is also genetically inherited diseases, and like diseases that can be from DNA mutations, which, if anybody knows out there, cancer is a genetic disease. So any sort of cancer is what happens when your own DNA gets damaged. So if we can find ways to protect that, why wouldn't we do that? We were going to protect against, one, your age, just for like looks and appearances, but also against all diseases, cancers, heart disease risks, diabetes, insulin resistance, things that are really prevalent, especially in our American culture. We should be looking at that to see how we can protect against the development of these diseases. And so that's just one of the things I look at. But that was just a little scientific spiel of like, there is a physical manifestation within your biology that protects against your aging and against diseases. And so that one of the biggest drivers of that is going to be, one, fitness, like you're working out, and two, your nutrition, to actually protect and give yourselves the nutrients and the vitamins you need to repair and recover and not be weak in your physical DNA and your physical biological processes.
Love that. That's great. Listen to that one more time there.
Yeah, I'm sorry, that's a little bit confusing. I try to put it in a way to where it's like it's understandable.
Very understandable.
It's a very complex topic, but yeah, so I'm starting to like learn and find my voice to at least project that, but hopefully that made sense.
Yeah.
I think.
I think Andy gave you guys the science. I think what you need to understand is that if you just want to live a longer life and feel younger and look younger, just exercise 20 minutes a day. Everyone's got time for that.
Yeah. So
Everyone's
long
got
story
time for
short,
that.
yeah, just work out, be healthy, try to do something, and I promise you'll be healthier. You're going to be reducing your risk for all cause mortalities by a lot. So yeah.
I have a question for you.
What's up?
So if you had, okay, let's say somebody that they're just feeling like they're just feeling a little lost right now. They don't know kind of like what they want to do with fitness. They don't really know where to start, what to eat, or like anything. They don't know what to start, right? They've never really looked into it. What would be like 3 things that someone can do today to just become a healthier individual?
To become a healthier individual for themselves.
And I know that's very generic, healthy.
That is
right?
that is very generic. I'm gonna give you 2 answers of the 3 things. I'm gonna give you the basic answer, and then I'm gonna give you the more like detailed answer. The basic answer is gonna be move, drink water, and if you're someone that's overweight, eat less. Those are the 3 things if you're overweight. Now, what I will say is that will get you to be more fit and will give you a good starting point. I've been in a space where I'm very scientifically driven. So the way that I look at fitness now is you can either, well, in the world in general, you can either pay in 2 ways. You can pay with money or you can pay with time. And so if you're going to do it that way, the way I just mentioned, with being consistent, eating, finding out what your body feels good on, running on, like your food is fuel, so you're gonna learn what your body runs well on. All that stuff kind of takes time. The way you like to train, you're gonna have to try different training styles, this and that. All that stuff takes time, and that's the way I did it. And I think it's a great value to do that. You learn more about yourself. But if you're someone that does have the money and is looking for a more scientifically specific thing and like a greater stepping stone to where you can start from, I think getting your genetics screened is a very big, important health marker that you can do. And the reason, let me give you an example. So you take 2 people, and one person eats on the carnivore diet, right? And the other person eats on a vegan diet. And both these people are so healthy. You take the marathon runners or just ultra athletes. They're just really, really fit. And so you look at that and you're thinking, and you've seen these people probably out there too. It's like you got the vegan influencers, you got the carnivore influencers, and they're both very healthy. And you're confused now. And I remember that's how I started too. I'm like, well, how do I eat? I'm like, you got a vegan telling me I should be eating no meat, and I got a carnivore telling me I should be eating only meat. So what's the answer? And I think the answer is do what's best for you. And I think what's best for you is coded in your DNA. At least that's what I've been finding. And so there are genes in your body that would tell you if you're someone that's more susceptible to be a diabetic or like develop insulin resistance. So if that's you, you shouldn't necessarily be eating a bunch of carbs all the time because you're going to develop insulin resistance. Right? And so, but for me, I don't have that problem and I can eat a lot of carbs, whereas maybe I have higher risk for developing high cholesterol. I just put out a TikTok today that talked about familial hypercholesterolemia, which is basically an inherited genetic disorder in which your cholesterol levels are already elevated from baseline. And that's just genetics. So it wouldn't make sense to eat something like the carnivore diet if you already have high cholesterol, because those meats have cholesterol levels in them. And so now you're looking at that. Let's say you have familial hypercholesterolemia, FH for short, and now you start the carnivore diet. Are you actually getting healthier? No. You might lose some weight, calorically wise. You might be getting more fit, but from a cholesterol and heart disease standpoint, you're not getting more healthy. You actually might be doing a little more damage to your body. And so I think there's a give and take. I think any diet that'll get you to be more fit is probably going to be healthier than the current diet you're eating. But I think there is a more detailed answer that the tools that will tell us these answers weren't developed until now, and they're being developed better currently. So I think this is just a starting point. I think we have a good baseline now of like where we could start, and then these tools are only going to get better and better from time.
Mhm.
And so I'm excited personally because I've been like neck deep in the whole genetic space. I think it's going to be a big space later in all realms of health. I think it's. I mean, the human genome was just completed like, I don't know, not even a decade ago, basically.
Wow.
So we're still learning about it. We're still learning how to screen it. We're still learning how to analyze it.
Mhm.
So I'm excited. I want to see what we can do for the purposes of health and getting the whole population healthier from that aspect of it too.
I love that.
Because I think genetic plays a huge impact that not a lot of people know that. But we all kind of talk about it in the fitness space, like, oh, it's just your genetics. But like, what does that mean?
Yeah,
like I got kind of sick of that answer where it's like, oh, he's just got good genetics. Oh, it's just bad. Like,
yeah, I think that's like a
is that?
scapegoat for a lot of people too.
It is a
It's like
scapegoat.
take it. That's a part of taking control of your life as well. Like we were discussing earlier, it's like, okay, if you know that it's just genetics, do something about it.
Right.
Because here's the problem: is that people say, like, you're right. People have the genetic disposition of maybe having higher cholesterol in their family.
Mhm.
But you know what else is passed down? Habits.
True.
So now you take a family that, like, oh, for example, heart disease runs in my family.
Mhm.
And a lot of it is, like, my uncle was born with heart disease.
Right.
He was born with a valve problem or something.
Mhm.
Knowing that, here's the thing, is that knowing that that is potential in my family, it's like, what do I want the habits to pass down?
Right.
This is why I say I want to end heart disease, because a lot of times it's like people have a higher risk of it, but the habits of eating fried food,
Yeah.
what your parents fed you growing up,
Yeah.
the stress you go through, those habits in life get passed down from generation as
Right.
well. So I took that in my own hands to say, okay, I'm going to be the first one in my family to like really start going to the gym, watching what I eat, take control of that. So I think understanding your genetics is huge, and then understanding how to combat that.
Yeah, it's one thing to know about it. It's another thing to do it. And I think that's I'm not saying the genetics thing is the end all be all, because it's just a marker to tell you where you're at. It's the next thing. It's the coaches like you. It's the mentors you have in your life. It's your environment. Those are the things that are going to do something about it. It's you yourselves, your mindsets, anything you consume. That's the thing that's going to be what you do about it now that you know. And so, yeah, I think it's going to be not a give and take. I think it's just a mixture of both. I think it's everything.
Yeah.
So it's like getting your blood work done, basically. It's like if you have the ability to get your blood work done, see how your hormone levels are, figure out why am I not feeling good? Yeah, you would do it. Yeah. But then you still need to do something about it. Yeah. Like you mentioned, you were feeling bad, you got the blood work, this and that. Nothing would change if you didn't do anything about it. You know about it. You got your blood work done. That's awesome. You know what you should be doing, but you have to do it. And so that's where a lot of people need some accountability in their lives.
Yeah. I love that. And so you do a lot in that space, right?
Yeah.
You want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. So I mean, pretty much briefly talked about it, but well, where do you want me to start? Start from?
Yeah, like let's talk about your journey now.
Talk about my journey?
Yeah, we'll work our way to what you're currently doing, but what got you into the gym?
What got me into the gym in general? Well, I think I came from a pretty fit family in general. My dad always worked out all the time. He still does. He's still, in some regards, fitter than me. He's a big. You see him all the time. My dad, yeah, kind of. He's a pretty good role model. But yeah, so you grow up, you see that stuff. We always played sports. Sports was a big part of our family. We were always moving. I have a twin brother too, and an older brother. I mean, when you have a twin brother, it's nonstop competition. We're always fighting against each other just to be better. We're always competing with each other. So we're always moving. We're doing stuff. And then that kind of just stuck through high school. We just played sports. We both played baseball. I remember you were kind of jack playing baseball too, though. I remember because we were both second baseman. You were, I think, 2 years above me.
I was 2 years, yeah.
So I guess your senior year, was my sophomore year, and I was like, damn, this guy's pretty big for a second baseman. Because normally second basemen are small. I'm a short guy, whatever. But you were pretty big, so I remember that.
That's when I started getting into the gym.
Yeah, that side tangent. But yeah, he was big in high school. But yeah, we went to me and my brother went to college. He went down to Texas. I went up to Boston. So we were separated. At that point, I wasn't playing baseball anymore. So I just figured, I'm like, what's the next best thing? I mean, I need something to do.
Mm-hmm.
I've always been moving my whole life, and I think when I first got there, I think the first like 2 or 3 months, they say you put on the freshman 15. I probably put on a little bit more than that. So
Oh,
I
wow.
was just, yeah. So I was like, I need to get back into. I missed that, and
Mhm.
so yeah, I just started going to the gym. Like I mentioned before, I was probably doing everything wrong. I looked back at my old notes that I was taking and like how I'd eat and things like that,
Mm-hmm.
and boy was I wrong, but hey, it was the starting point. And so you just kind of figure it out along the way. I didn't know how to train. I didn't know what I wanted to train.
Mm-hmm.
I just knew I want to move. And
Mhm.
so I did that. Yeah, I just kind of stuck with that. And then I got an itch to play baseball again. I think I remember talking to you about that probably like two years ago now.
Mm-hmm.
And so I started training more specifically for baseball then. It took me to some great places. I went down to Texas actually to play summer ball last year.
Mm-hmm.
Tried to go out for Georgetown's team for my master's. Unfortunately, that didn't work out. That's a whole other story for a different day. But it taught me a lot of great lessons along that way. One was how to like vouch for myself. I was always someone that was like a shyer kid. Even my mom would always be like, you gotta like push yourself, you gotta make yourself known, especially I'm a short guy, so it's like I kind of hide in the background. So if I'm not vocal or I don't know how to like reach out to people at all, and at that point I didn't talk to anybody, which I'll tie back in a second. But
Mm-hmm.
that part of my life taught me to like vouch for myself, reach out, and then prove it. So you gotta vouch for yourself, but then have the skills and the hard work in the background, like watering the seed, to actually back that up. And so it taught me the value of all that. And then so yeah, going back to fitness, I think that taught me a lot about the things the skill sets that I need to be in the world today. Discipline, working in general, just like hard work, pushing yourself past your limits. I think if anybody knows David Goggins, I'm not like a huge like David Goggins avid listener, but his mindset is good, where it's like we have so much more in ourselves than we really believe.
Mm-hmm.
So I learned that about myself. Yeah, pretty much everything. A lot of the skills I learned were from the gym and fitness, structure, everything. I don't know, motivation versus discipline, time management. I think that's a big one too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so anyways, long story short, got into fitness, started like you, wanted to learn how to structure it, programming, learn more about it. And then I went into school for biology. So then I was like, all right, well, I know how to do it from like a coaching standpoint, physical standpoint,
Right.
but like, what's the actual background behind, like, what's going on inside my body?
Mm-hmm.
And that led me to Georgetown to study physiology there. So
Nice.
I got my master's in physiology, just graduated a little over a month ago now.
Oh, congratulations.
Yeah, so that's good. I learned a ton there. Super cool. The human body is amazing. It really is amazing. And I don't even know the half of it, honestly. So it's really, really interesting. But yeah, that's where I'm at now. And so now
Nice.
I'm focusing on the DNA aspect of it. At least it's a field called genomics. So I'm focused on genomic aspect for, I would say, not like personal fitness, but more so like performance. So for health and performance.
Great.
And so from there, I was like, well, I want to make this a thing. Not a lot of people really know about this space. I want to bring it to light. And so me and my twin brother created a company that helps people learn about this and do just that. So learn about your own genetics. And so that's called High Performance Health.
Love it.
Yeah, and so we're getting the ball rolling on that. So we're just starting off, but we're learning as we go. A lot of the things that you had mentioned when you first started, learning as you go. So we're kind of just figuring it out. And I was actually talking with my brother's name is Brian. I was talking with Brian, I think last night or the night before. And it's like on the day-to-day basis, it seems like progress is so slow. Again, this is one of the things we learned from fitness probably too. But looking back, I'm like, we only started this thing maybe 6 months ago, maybe. But we've already found manufacturers, set up a website, gotten some clients, figured out how we want to like have client relations, how to get leads, anything.
Yeah.
So it's like it's a slow progress, but it's actually kind of quick. Like in the 6 months, we've made some good real headway. So I'm excited to see what the future brings. And yeah, it's a slow grind. It's a fun one, but it's a little nerve wracking because it's like, oh, how do I make this work? Where do I go from here? And The answer is you just don't know. You just got to jump in and
Right.
figure it out.
And that led me to my second question, and I'll link to your website down below on the YouTube video.
Yeah.
But brings me to the next question, was saying, like, so you got into the gym.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what lessons have you learned in the gym, which you kind of explained?
Yeah.
And how are you applying those to your business?
Yeah, so I think discipline over motivation is a big one. I'm not a big, like, camera editing guy, social media guy in general. And so I don't have any motivation to do, like, the social media stuff. But I know it's something that is going to help me grow.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just got to be disciplined and, like, film my videos, find the barrier of entry. Yeah, exactly. Find the barrier. Well, like we were mentioning before, lower the barrier of entry.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm setting things up for myself and a structure for myself. I'm still figuring it out now, but we're getting a little bit better of just like making it really easy for me to just press the record button, make the videos, find my voice, what I want to talk about, provide value, and yeah, go from there. So I think, and that for me requires discipline because I have no motivation to do that. Flat out, I just don't. So I'm doing it regardless of my motivation.
So you don't need to have motivation to be successful.
You don't need motivation at all to be successful. I think you have a goal in mind, and there's just a way to achieve it, and you have to do the things that you need to do in order to achieve it. Regardless, that's just the things. Whether you have motivation or not, you have to do the things. What those things are, you kind of figure out along the way, but you know you have to do something. So a lot of the time, I don't have the motivation to do it, but you got to do it anyway, you know, because I do have the motivation to be successful and to get to where I want. That's where my motivation is. So it's not necessarily in the day-to-day, but it is the motivation to, like, I have a place where I want to be, and I want to get there.
You have to reverse engineer it.
Yeah, a lot of reverse engineering. Yeah, and a lot of troubleshooting, too, more than I thought. You go one step forward and two steps back, and you're kind of sitting there like, what is going on? This is so much of a headache than it needs to be. Even just, like, finding a manufacturer to do this stuff. I'm just like, well, which one do I pick? And this one has this pricing, and this one has this plan.
But the skills you learn along the way are irreplaceable.
And I'll tell you what, I think that's another big lesson that I learned. So you have to find out who you are as a person and then how you work really well. And so a lot of the times I know I like to work alone. I don't have training partners too often. However, I think a lot of the times they're necessary for me because I will get stagnant. I'll get into like a comfortability place where I'm like, okay, this is good enough. I'm doing good enough. And then I start to get through the motions. And then what you realize is 6 months, a year later, I'm just like, haven't really made any progress. So it always helps to, one, have someone pushing you and competing against you. And I think I learned that with Brian growing up. But two, someone that compliments you really well. And so my brother is really, really good at just doing stuff without thinking about it. He just does. Like that is what he does. He just does things. What those things are, I don't know. He just does them though. He does it. It's not impulsive. But he just likes to do stuff, and then if he messes up, he doesn't care. He'll just okay, that's one way to not do it, and he'll just keep doing stuff until he finds it. Where I'm the other way. I'm like, I'm gonna think about every little thing that can go wrong, and I'm gonna make sure this is the best course of action. If either of us were to do this on our own, I don't think it would succeed because he would probably get himself in jail at some point, and I would probably never get started. And so we have a good balance between the two of us, and we complement each other extremely well. And I think it's meant to be that way. We're twins. I mean, I think if we're meant to be like one body that is now two people, and we just complement each other really well. So he helps me to keep doing stuff. And there's also that pressure behind me, too, because I'm like, if I don't do stuff, he's going to ask me what I've done, and I'm going to say nothing. And he's going to get mad at me. So I got to do something. And, so he helps me to do stuff, and then I help to make sure that it's probably a good course of action to do. And so, that's what we're doing right now.
Great.
That's one of the things that I learned from the gym as well, I would say. I think those are my two big answers. Probably knowing how you work, so really becoming self-aware and knowing what you like, don't like, and being honest with yourself too. You know, you gotta do the things you need to do regardless of if you don't want to do them. So you have to know you don't want to do them, but then be disciplined enough to do them.
And the gym taught you that.
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah. I love that. I think that's great, and I'm glad that you and your brother are able to complement each other. I mean, you guys
Yeah.
grew up your life kind of like that. I know you guys are gonna push each other and do amazing things.
Yeah.
And then that leads me to my next question. So you're saying like how you want to make business as seamless as possible. You want to make it as easy as possible. Now, providing some value to the viewers, all these amazing people watching. What are some strategies you use, like when you're first getting into the gym, to make it easier for you? Like judgment, like fear of judgment, or like not knowing what to do. Like, how did you make it easier?
Yeah, that's actually a great question. So it took me a while. When I first started going to the gym, I would actually just do cardio. And I remember my dad would be working out, my twin brother, we would go all together. Me, my dad, and my twin brother. Because I think we were like 16 at the time and the gym didn't allow, whatever it was. But they would be lifting weights and I would be just doing cardio. Because I remember even at that point, I didn't want to make a face if I was lifting weights. I was so insecure. It's like, I don't want to make a face in the mirror. It's weird. And then I think it's the people around you that push you to do that, at least for me. So I think if you are someone that's a little bit nervous about going to the gym and starting off, you're going to meet some fantastic people regardless. And just a tip, it's honestly some of the biggest dudes in there that look the scariest that are the nicest people in there. I swear. Because they're probably just where you were at. They remember. Yeah. They're really, really nice. And most of the gym community, I would say most, is like very, very friendly and willing to help. So if you're nervous about starting, find people that you trust in there, create a little community. You have your friends in there, and they're going to be the ones that'll help you out. It'll be a buddy that's like, no one's going to mess with you, I guess, sort of thing, because like you have somebody that's well known in that space. Like if someone were to work out with me, which, I invite people to work out with me all the time, I want to make them feel like there's nothing to worry about because you're with me. Like people know me in there. It's fine. Like they'll know you. Everybody's friendly. You'll be okay.
Yes.
And then once you start seeing results, I think that feeling goes away of like the insecurity. Once you start seeing results, you kind of just become like, you realize everybody in there is pretty much just looking at themselves. It is kind of a selfish space, but selfish in a good way because you're selfish with your time, you're selfish with your ambitions and your goals and whatever you're doing for that allotted hour, 2 hours of the day.
Yes.
And so you kind of realize that too. Not everybody's looking at you. In fact, nobody really is looking at you. Everybody's a little bit self-obsessed, just a little bit with themselves.
Yes.
And so people are kind of just worried about their workout for the day. And if you do find someone that is worried about what you're doing, I would hope it's in good faith to be like, oh, tweak your form a little bit. I don't want you to get hurt. But if someone's just, coming at you and making fun of you, then they're just an asshole. So don't pay attention to them.
They're the ones that in a year later, they're the ones that are going to be asking for your help.
Yeah, exactly.
Because they're not focusing on themselves.
That happened to me. I'm not going to get into that story, but that's happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Well, even in high school, I know, like, you mentioned senior year baseball was big. That was when I first started getting into the gym, so I got a little bit bigger. But before that, I was 130 pounds, skinny, intimidated by all the people a year older than me.
Yeah.
And now some of them are asking to join Supafit.
Yeah. Yep.
It's because you just gotta focus on yourself at the end of the day.
It's so true. I've had people come up to me and just be like, "Whoa, what do you do? Like, what's the secret?" Yeah. First of all, there is no secret.
Yeah.
And second of all, it's like, weren't you like dogging on me like 2 years ago? What's going on? This
Which
is weird.
Is fine because we're all positive energy. Yeah. What you put out is what you get back.
That's true. That's very true. But I just want to make a comment too. It's pretty interesting how you mentioned very briefly that you were one of the reasons like you were insecure. You didn't want to take your shirt off of the pool, but you were a skinny person. Where I was the same way, but just on the opposite end of the spectrum. I was chubbier. Right. And we both have the same kind of feelings. Isn't that pretty interesting? How it's like you can be on opposite. I might have looked at you and been like, "Damn, like he's pretty lean. Like I would have no problem taking off my shirt at the pool or whatever." And then like maybe you're the other way around. Maybe he's got a little bit of muscle, this and that. But it's like, isn't that interesting how we're all kind of like worried about other people's perceptions when they're probably just thinking the same exact thing.
It's crazy, and it's just you versus you really at the end of the day. Yeah. But I love that, and I think at the time like I was skinny, but I had like no muscle. Yeah. So like any amount of fat on me like would kind of show. So like my stomach was just like no definition or anything. Yeah. So like I kind of just looked like
the skinny fat.
Yeah, like a skinny fat kind of thing. Yeah. The term. So. Yeah, I didn't even wear tank tops or anything either.
Yeah, I actually didn't even wear a tank top. I wore only shirts, not even cutoffs, until I was probably like 2 or so years into the gym.
Mm-hmm.
I remember
Same.
that. I remember the first day I walked in there, and I had already been lifting. People knew me in there. I'd already been lifting at that one gym for like a year, whatever,
Yeah.
maybe 2 years. And I walked in there, and I was even nervous to walk in there with a cutoff, being like, "Oh, people are gonna look at me."
Yeah,
So it's
definitely.
really interesting. Like even if you like when you're starting off, if you feel that way, like there might be little steps in your fitness journey that you still might feel that way, but I promise it's fine. It's gonna be okay. So
Yeah, it'll be all right.
yeah.
It's like anything in life. We're scared to ride a bike for the first time, you know?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's just you
You
gotta
gotta do.
do.
You just have to do. Shout out Brian. Brian
Yeah.
does. Brian
But
does.
like you said too, a great point in saying is environment is everything. Like surrounding yourself with people that are supportive of you is huge. Stop hanging
Yeah.
out with friends that put you down all the time.
Yeah.
I saw someone in the gym. He was wearing a shirt and it said I don't know something. It said I'm fat or something like that. And I bet you his friend gave it to him. And it's like stop defining yourself by that.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
surround yourself with people that like hype you up.
Yeah. If someone's knocking you down for at least genuinely trying to better yourself, it's
Mhm.
one thing if like you're gonna hurt yourself and people are like, you need to stop. Like, let's say you're drinking a lot and people are like, you need to
Yeah.
stop drinking. That's a
Mhm.
friend. But if you're trying to
Absolutely.
get healthy and they're like, stop working out,
Yeah.
that's not a friend. I don't
Mhm.
think it is. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
And and a friend is someone that actually wants the best interest for you, not someone that says, "Oh, you're feeling sad. Let's go out drinking and forget all your problems,"
Yeah.
or "Let's go get pizza when they know you're trying to lose weight,"
Right.
or "It's okay. Like I know you're
Right.
insecure about what you look like. It's fine. Like you're fine."
Right. Right.
A real friend would be like, "Listen, dude. Like you gained 30 pounds over the last year. Like I want you to be the best version of you. I want you to have the energy. I want you to have the charisma and the energy that
Right.
you used to have. Like let's do this."
Right. In any realm, they just want the best for you. That's a real friend. And
Mhm.
it
Even if
I
it
mean,
hurts.
we're young, so I'm sure we're gonna find out a little bit more about that as we continue to age. But yeah,
Mhm.
there's already been a few times in my life where I'm like, oof, maybe that wasn't really a friend. Maybe they kind of
Yeah.
just wanted they I was a friend to them for the uses that I would provide them.
Mm.
But then if it wasn't for my best interest, they were no longer a friend.
Mm.
And so yeah, you kind of just have to evaluate that as you go on. You know, that is a good point you bring up too, because a lot of people are like, well, my friend group doesn't go to the gym, so if I start being on this and I
Yeah.
don't go out with them, like we're not going to be friends. I'm like, well, then there might be an upgrade, honestly. And
Yeah.
it's not to say you don't like those people or you can't like go out one night with them
Mhm.
in a week or something like that, but yeah, they should never be at least pressuring you to like not do the things that'll better
Yeah.
yourself just for the sake of we're not going to see you as often. I don't
That's a
think-
big thing.
yeah.
Huge. I mean, that's huge. What you just said there.
Yeah.
Like, has that happened to you on your fitness journey?
Not too much, but
Mm.
I've heard of other people that exact same way. I haven't. That hasn't really been my scenario because I haven't. I guess I really didn't develop too many bad habits.
Yeah.
But it was kind of just like, oh, this is what I'm doing now, and it was okay.
Mm.
But there have been times where in other realms I've done things to like, I don't know, that would lead me away from certain friend groups, and I guess they got mad at me for it. And I'm like, well, I mean, I don't know. Me personally, I've never really cared about that because I'm like, I'm just gonna do what I'm gonna do. I'm not
Mhm.
gonna hurt anybody in any way. And I'm
Right.
sorry if you're offended by that, but
Right.
I'm just doing this for me.
Doing what's best for you.
Yeah.
That's what's important. at
Have
the end
you
of the day.
have you had any of those encounters?
I don't know. I think business and fitness, honestly. Like, I'm not gonna name any specific names, but I've been in friend groups where, like, you know what? Like, I don't want to drink, like tonight, or
Yeah.
like I don't want to eat pizza tonight. Like, I want to focus on my health,
Yeah.
or, you know, I got business stuff to work on. Like, I can't go on vacation for a week. Certain things like that. But I never said like we can't be friends anymore. I just said like right now I have this and this, and thankfully I haven't really gotten close to too many people. So the people I have gotten close with, they're super cool about it. They're like, yeah, dude, like they're rooting me on.
Right.
And that's what I'm trying to say. You got to surround yourself with people that root you on.
Yeah. You know what's funny too? Just to make a social comment, I guess. I think most people are very supportive. I think we're pretty good with most people's friend groups are supportive of them.
Mhm.
There's just a few people that here and there you might have to get rid of, whatever. But what I noticed when I first started social media in my whole life, there have been things said to me on social media that no one said it in real life ever.
Oh,
Within like
yeah.
the first month of social media.
Yeah.
I'm like, no one in person has ever said that to me. If I said something or had an idea or this and that, no one would ever say the things that they say on social media. And
Dude.
it's so weird. I don't
crazy.
understand that social media. Like, you would take time out of your day to make a comment that's negative about me.
Mm-hmm.
That's like, it's mind blowing. Like, why would you take the time out of your day to do that? Like,
They should
you
just
either
make their own video.
yeah, make your own video, or just like don't say anything. Like you're only hurting yourself. You're taking time out of your day to be more negative. Like that just never made sense to me. And so yeah, I don't know. I haven't had like any friends that have been like that.
Yeah.
I think most people are pretty supportive. And there's been times in my life where I'm like, yeah, I'm not drinking for this period of time just because I got this goal. Like if I'm running a half marathon, whatever it was. Everybody's really supportive, this and that. And then I posted a YouTube video about it, a little short, and someone's like, that's so stupid. You could go out and drink this and that. I'm just like, what the like, this is so weird.
So you want to hear my theory on haters online? Because I've gotten a fair share of it. And the fact that you got in hate means that you're doing something. Okay? If we're just living in the shadows, not speaking our mind, of course you're not going to get any hate.
Sure.
And that's how I lived the majority of my life was don't step on anybody's toes. Just try to be cool with everybody. Like just kind of sit in the back. But if you do that, you're never going to be the main character of your life. But when you get hate online, I say that's just you holding up a mirror to their face and showing them all their insecurities. And then they get offended. Because then they look at you and they're like, this guy thinks he's better than me. Because he's not going to drink. And deep down they're like, should I not be doing? So like that's kind of what happens. And if someone disagrees with you, they could just make their own video, speak in their own mind. But they would rather just crap on you.
And a lot of people, instead of building themselves up to make themselves better, it's just a lot easier to try to pull somebody else down. So I guess that's just where they resort to. But I just never understood that. I'm like, you're really going to take time out of your own day to be more negative in general, release negative energy out to the universe. I'm like, that just never made sense to me. So I don't know. If you do have some people that are like that in your life, I think it's probably best to get rid of them. I think they might just try to be. You ever seen like the videos of people running with the parachute behind them and it slows them down? I think that's kind of an analogy of what those people are like. They're that parachute that's like you're going to be trying and running as hard as you can, but you're not going to get very far because they're kind of just tugging you back. So it kind of sucks to say, but I mean, I don't know. It's not getting rid of. It's not getting rid of good friends. It's getting rid of people that are going to hold you back.
Leave them back. This is your life. When we die in 70 years, 100 years, because we're going to live very long, because we take care of our health.
Exactly.
But it's just going to be us on that bed. You're not going to be thinking about Joe Schmo. You're going to be thinking about how did you live your life.
Right. And I think the best way to do that is to be good and provide value to others. Like provide genuine goodness to others. And so I don't think you can really do that with people that are providing negativity toward you or toward others, right? So, I mean, if you really want to do good in the world, you have to have good around you. And so I don't really want many bad influences around me at all. So if I got somebody that's trying to pull me back or try to maybe, have negative energy or negative thoughts around my circle, I don't want that at all. I don't know. I try to keep positivity
it's a
around
virus.
my circle. It is. It really kind of affects it.
Which brings us back to what you were saying earlier about your diet. Not just the food you eat, but the things you watch.
Right.
And if you want to explain a little bit about how what we consume mentally, whether it's friends, the news, social media, how that impacts you.
I don't watch the news anymore because I've just recognized the fact that it's all negative. There's never been a really positive news story in general. If I need to know any news, trust me, we're going to know about it. It's we're all on our phones 24/7. We're going to hear about news very, very quickly. And so, I don't worry about FOMO or not being in the know-how because I know I'm going to figure that out eventually and pretty quickly too. Social media, I'm not really on too much anymore for the sole purpose of it's a lot of comparison, and I notice for me myself, I definitely compare myself to people. I mean, we're in the fitness space. You got people that are posting pictures of them absolutely shredded, looking great all the time, and nobody's going to post their worst. They're only going to post their best. And we all know these things too, but we still compare. And it's mind-boggling. I still find myself comparing myself to people that are absolutely shredded, but I know myself, and I'm like, I would feel like crap if I was that shredded, but I
Right.
still compare. So I try not to go on social media too much unless it's for me to actually post and provide value to other people.
Mm-hmm.
I try to keep my content in that regard as well, to not have other people compare themselves to my content. I just want to provide value, get in, provide value, get out. That's it. I don't want people to have negative energy from watching my videos or my content in general. I just like to provide information. Yeah, that's kind of what I see. And when I am consuming stuff, I really try to keep it very specific. I like to put a lot of like checks and balances on myself and what I am consuming. So I'm pretty self-aware of what I'm consuming on a regular basis. Yeah, for the fact that like I'm not really on it in general, and then if I do go on it, it's like I'll look up a specific idea or like person that I know is going to be like helping me in that moment. So if I want to like learn about boxing tips or something, I'll just search up like boxing tips or like, you know, whatever, some kind of positive thing that's like, it's very specific and strategic. I'm not letting the algorithm throw me into some random niche that's going to make me feel like crap the rest of the day. At least I try not to, but yeah. What do you feel?
I completely agree with that. So here's the thing. People are waking up every single day tired and insecure and kind of feeling lost. And the reason is for a lot of reasons. One, people aren't taking care of their health. They're not drinking enough water. They're not getting good quality sleep. And two, because they're just getting information overload. And the biggest cause of inaction in life is the feeling of being overwhelmed.
Yeah.
And you're overwhelmed when you have information overload. So when you're on social media, like TikTok, Instagram, you're scrolling, you're getting in information. Your brain doesn't know what to prioritize.
Yeah.
So then you wake up the next day and you feel a little overwhelmed. And this is why like information without implementation is just noise.
Yeah.
It's not something, it's not
noise.
beneficial. So especially in the motivational space, like I post motivational videos, a lot of times people will watch that and they'll feel accomplished. Like, oh yeah, I just did a lot today.
Yeah.
It's like, well, you listen to motivation, you feel fired up, but what did you do with that?
Right.
So one strategy that I like to do is, like you said, be a producer, not a consumer. Consume certain things that are good for you, like your diet, like you have certain macros you need to hit, certain food you need. Eat that. Don't eat the junk food in the pantry. Don't eat the excess stuff. Yeah. Right? Eat what's on your plan. Eat what you got to eat. Same thing with your mental nutrition. Yeah. Turn off the news. Okay. YouTube, there's extensions you can get where it turns off all your Explore. Yeah. You can just watch your subscriptions. You don't have that homepage. Instagram, there's an extension you can get where you can turn off Explore on your page so you don't compare yourself. There's extensions for everything to turn off all the noise in your life. And then you can finally hear what your calling is telling you. Yeah.
I love the word that you use, noise, because there's two words that I use now that I'm definitely, within the past, I would say like month or two, I've been noticing, and I'm really just trying to rid myself of it. And that's, the words I use are noise and smoke. There's just a bunch of noise and smoke that's around me, and I just don't want none of it. It's everybody that's just talking, they're not doing anything, it's just noise. It's distractions around me, and I have a very clear goal. I have things I want to do. I have a person who I want to become, and all the noise around me is just not helping me get there. Yeah. And so, that's something that I definitely look where I'm like, all right, I kind of evaluate anything that I'm consuming. Is it something that's going to help me get to be to the person I want to be, or is it just noise around me that's just distracting me? And so if it's just the noise, I'll recognize that and just block it out. But I really definitely try to regulate what I'm consuming. Definitely with my eyeballs, because that's a huge way we consume stuff nowadays.
Yeah. So what would you recommend to somebody that's trying to get fit, and get in the best shape of their life, health, whatever their goals are with health? What would you recommend them to do?
From a consumption standpoint?
Yeah. Things like social media.
Yeah, I mean, I think find someone that you like and try to do what they do for the most part. But then you have to have this is a life thing too. You have to have experiences of your own. I would want to live my life and talking about the things that I've done and the things that I've learned, not talking about what you saw somebody else do. And a lot of people, if you were to eliminate what everybody else, so if you were to eliminate the things that you've heard, seen, consumed, and only had to talk about the things that you've done and the experiences you have. I think a lot of people don't have too much to talk about because we're just in a consumption world. And so a lot of people's thoughts and ideas come from the other people that they see on social media. The ideas that they have in their mind are just formed by whether it's the news or their influencers and this and that. And it's like, at a certain point, yeah, it might be helpful because there are influencers. The name is influencer for a reason. They're going to influence your thoughts. They're going to influence your mindset, which is cool and all, and it can be helpful. But at a certain point, you have to just like, you want to talk about the things you do. Like, you want to have stories, you want to have experiences, and that's what I kind of want to like live like. So I get my consumption for like specific purposes. There's a guy, Nick Bear, that's like huge into hybrid athlete, like lifting and running, and so that is content that I watch because I like to lift and run, and it'll help me maybe program how to fit both of those in, or give me a little bit of motivation to go for a run after a lift, whatever it is. But like, I know that's gonna benefit me. It's not noise. And then I'm gonna go do those things myself, and then I'm gonna go talk about how I felt doing them.
Yes.
And so, yeah, I want to have experiences of my own. So I would say for someone that's like trying to get into it from a consumption standpoint, just look at the things that is going to help you to be the person you want to be, whether that's fitness wise, financially wise, mentally wise. Like if you're someone that lacks control over your mind, or like patience or something like that, you might watch like stoicism videos or something. I don't know, whatever it is, but something that could help. And then just try to do those things. And then you'll realize at a certain point you don't need those videos because you're just learning and doing the things on your own.
I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you have anxiety, stop watching American Horror Story.
Yeah.
Like stop listening to all those crime shows. If you have anxiety, if you're stressed out, like that's why people are. It's what you're consuming. Like if you just watch inspirational things, positive things. If you watch things like that, and you limit it, and you spend more time doing rather than watching, your life's gonna be amazing. If you want to watch a YouTube video, do it while you're on the treadmill at the gym.
Yeah, true. You could do that.
Don't do it in bed and then say you're gonna get up. Go to the gym, hop on treadmill, then watch the video.
Yeah, exactly. Or watch a video about someone going to the gym, and you're gonna be like, I should probably go to the gym. This is cool. So I don't know. I mean, people know this stuff too. Like, people scroll for hours and they get off and they're like, what did I even watch? Where did the time go? And they don't feel good about it. Like, we all know. I don't feel good about that. We all know these things, but they're so highly addicting that we just we keep doing it. So it's definitely important. I think one of the biggest traits anyone can have nowadays is self-awareness. I say that a lot, at least to the people around me, but I think self-awareness is huge because, like fitness, there is no one-size-fits-all, and you have to know how you operate. You have to know how you work. You have to know what you like, what you don't like. You have to know yourself. You have to be very self-aware. So, there might be someone that can be on content all day and still be productive, and there's someone that can't even watch one bit of content, and they'll just go on like a
you have to know who you are.
Scroll. You have to know who you are. So learn about yourself. That's one thing that fitness will teach you. And yeah, that's what I think about that.
I love that. Well, the camera looks like it's gonna die shortly.
Is it?
Yes. So
hour 36, I think it says. That's not bad. It's pretty solid.
Yeah. We were doing good for the whole time.
We
were talking a lot.
I don't think there's many breaks. Yeah, I don't think
we're gonna make my job edit. We're gonna make our job editing a lot easier.
Yeah, for sure. Send it through. There's still more topics we could talk about on a different time.
Dude, now that we have this, we can do plenty more. If you guys want to see Andy and me talk a little bit more in certain topics, let us know down below what topics you want us to cover.
Yeah.
And we can do it. Is there any last comments you want to say before we
Last comments? Yeah, I mean, I guess if you guys are interested in learning about your genetics, how your familial history impacts how you process things mentally, physically, if you want to get in the best health that you can be, not just best physical shape, but the best health from a biological standpoint, you're going to link it down below. But yeah, you can go to my website, or you can contact me directly at any of my socials. It's just at Andy Ridzik or Andrew Ridzik on some of them too, but we'll link that below. And is there any last comments that you wanted to add for any of the viewers?
Any last comments? Like Andy said, his will be linked down below. If you guys don't know who I am, maybe you just stumbled upon this video. I'm Coach Supacoopa. All right, I run the Superfit Academy, and I help men and women all over the world get in the absolute best shape of their life through the Superfit Academy. So if you're looking to improve your mindset and improve your health, maybe you need a workout plan, maybe you want to figure out what to do with your diet, the application for Superfit will be linked down below as well. But at the end of the day, let's get 1% better.
Thank you for listening to today's episode. I hope you've learned at least one thing that you have the power to utilize right now in order to better your health. If you enjoyed this episode, please leave a like and write a review on whichever platform you are listening, and we'll see you next time.